I'm Chris.
I'm Sandy.
And this is Parenting Autism. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 145 of the Parenting Autism podcast. And it's me, Chris, and my wife, Sandy, as always.
Hello.
And here we are, another episode. And it's wintertime.
Yeah, we're coming here on what we call a chilly morning in South Florida.
It was 37 degrees when I woke up in South Florida.
That's extremely chilly for us.
Yes, that's Fahrenheit for those of you around the world. Yeah, wow. It's
going to warm up to 64 today, so.
Yeah, it's already 44, so it's warming up quickly, and we hope to be back to our regular Florida weather.
Huh.
So, what do we got happening, Sandy?
All right, well, today we're going to hop on here, and I think I was telling you before you hit the record button, we'll do a recap of the past month, and then you have a question number 2 from our Q&A series that we're doing about autism, parenting autism.
The most asked questions.
The most asked questions, and then I'll share something funny that Bryce has said, which, you know, I have plenty to choose from, but I have one that I chose to end on a happy note today. So that's the plan.
And he may or may not share something new with us.
True. He's sleeping right now, but we'll see how it goes.
Yep.
All right. So, oh boy, where to begin? Well, I have some notes here, and so I'll just kind of do it in not long form, but short form.
Okay.
We had a little break from Special Olympics, and so that was kind of nice during the holiday season, but now it has all started again. So Bryce has chosen to do what he's done before, which he has enjoyed, which is equestrian, where he rides on the horse and does like a, what do you call that?
Course.
Obstacle course. There's the words I was grasping for. And so he had his first session on the horse this past week, and he's very excited. He has a new horse he'll be working with named Cat, K-A-T, so it's a horse named Cat. Really pretty white horse. And then he also will begin basketball skills tonight. So he's very excited about that. And so it's very interesting because we live in Port St. Lucie, Florida, which has grown to be is it the 4th or 5th largest city in the state?
It's one of the largest cities in Florida.
I know we're in the top 5 now.
Sure.
It was not always that way. And for an example, with our Special Olympics, when Bryce started basketball skills, it was 4 seasons ago, there were, I want to say, 5 athletes, maybe. And that was probably on a good day. And then there were a few more the second year. And then last year, it really had boomed up. And then, of course, some fizzle out. But it had, and then I read that this year they have like 50 to 60 signed up, which is a little crazy to me. But we'll see how it all pans out. But that just shows you the growth. But that's also great that there's these opportunities for so many athletes and so many families. So anyway, so that is what's happening there. And you wonder why we don't have time to hop on here. Well, that's part of the reason why we have a pretty steady, full schedule between school. We homeschool Bryce, for those who are new. He has therapies that he does throughout the week. He has music lessons that he does, which is now 2 times a week. And then he has his sports that he does, and he also participates in a program at our local gym that's nearby that he does on Thursday nights. So we keep a pretty full schedule, and I have to give you lots of props, Chris, because I haven't been feeling my best, and so sometimes I can't take him, and you're great about stepping in and taking him when I'm down. So between the two of us, we tag team, we get it done. But it's really important to us that Bryce does have things to do, and that Bryce has opportunities to continue to learn, to develop skills, to have social opportunities, because he doesn't go to a regular school setting. And so he looks forward to going out and seeing people and seeing his, in air quotes, friends. And he loves that. He is very excited, and we're happy that we can do that. And most of his activities are pretty close to our home. So we're really blessed and fortunate with that. That's the upside of living in a larger city, is that we have many, many wonderful resources close to us. The downside is that when they're further away, we have to drive through a lot of traffic. But we've learned to manage it, and all is good is there. All is good there is what I wanted to say. So one thing that we're really working on with Bryce is focusing in on 2026 is like executive function and helping him with those skills and time management and different things like that, because he's rolling 12 toward 13 now. And he just seems to be in a much better emotionally balanced place since we started the, tell me what the therapy is, cognitive therapy. And so I feel like he's still, you can chime in anytime, but he's still a little reactive whenever he gets corrected on something, because it's not because he wants to be perfect. It's because he doesn't want to feel like he's done anything wrong, like hurting somebody, hurting their feelings, just not, it's like that sort of thing. And so I feel like he still gets upset with himself, but he works through it a lot faster, and he's learning how to process those emotions. And that's really important, because in real life, not everybody's going to say, hey, you did a great job, buddy. Like, he's surrounded with a lot of people, including me and you, and his therapist and his coaches, because, everybody knows there's special needs involved, and everybody encourages him all the time, which is great. But in real life and real world, not everybody is going to take the same approach of delivering the news that he needs to do something differently as we do.
I think he is also realizing that he forgets things a lot, and it's not his fault. But he does get upset at himself when he forgets to do things.
That's a valid point, because he will say, I'm so dumb, I forget things.
So I see that frustration coming through, and I don't know that there's anything we can do about that. It's just he does not remember things like we remember things.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So that's what I'm talking about, like working with him through those things, because we can't change the fact that he forgets things. I mean, we give him supplements to help with those kind of things. I don't even think prescribed medicine would help with those kind of things. So there's no sense in going that approach at this time. But I do think that helping him understand that it's okay and to still love himself, and that it happens to many people, because he will ask us things like, am I the only one that, and then fill in the blank, whatever it is that's frustrated him. And he's not the only one. Just because maybe you and I don't do the same things doesn't mean that many other people in the world. So I try to encourage him and say, no, you're not the only one. Plenty of people do this, but this is what we need to do, and it's okay. And if you forget this, it's okay. And if you were zoned out and thinking about something else, it's okay. Next time, just try to remember it. So we're doing a lot of coaching and teaching and helping him deal with those kind of things. But we did start a new fresh calendar on the refrigerator. I think we're probably in our third week. And so Bryce at first was extremely overwhelmed, because it is a lot of writing on a page, a lot of things. But we've got Monday through Sunday on there, and you did a great job by putting, like 9 o'clock, this happens, 9:30, this happens, 10 o'clock, this happens. And we're trying to help him have an awareness of time and to look at clocks. And once he's ready to wear a watch, we've tried that a couple times. It hasn't panned out, but that he will look for time, that he will recognize how time works in real life. Yes, he can tell time, but he doesn't pay attention to time. And there's a difference.
And that's one of the things we got out of cognitive behavior therapy. She's like, he needs to recognize how much time things take and when it's time to do things. So it's important to have a clock near or in front of him so that he can have that reminder.
Yeah. And I knew when I saw it, I thought, ooh, this is going to be overwhelming for him because, normally he's 2 or 3 steps at a time kind of kid.
But he also likes to know what's happening and what's coming, right?
So that's what we explained to him. You like to know what's going to happen. So, yes, it looks like a lot, but it'll let you come back and then you'll know kind of how to plan. And there's large time gaps so that he knows he has his, playtime or time to do whatever he wants, among the other things. So he was pretty, the word anxious comes to mind, anxious about it the first week. And then he was praying, dear God, please help me with this calendar, and, but he's done really well with it. And when we had his therapy session yesterday, about his worries, he was explaining that at first it was a lot for him, but he's learned now that it's a good thing for him and he's okay with it. So, and now he knows to go and look for it. And it, again, 2 weeks in, he's adapted to it, and it has helped. It has helped all of us.
Yeah, because we can, as parents, go to the sheet that's on the fridge and say, okay, Bryce, it's 9:00. This is what you're doing. If he doesn't already know. And then he's got there's nothing to be upset about for him because he knows that it's there and those are the times.
Right. And really there's no element of surprise.
Right.
Because it's been there. Because one thing he doesn't like is, wait, I didn't know we were doing this. Wait, I didn't,
So sometimes he would get upset because, I have to go do this. Well, now it's on the refrigerator and we have very little or no pushback now.
Yeah, it's working really well. And we also, if you've listened to the podcast before, we have a point reward system that we've had in place for Bryce for quite a while. And I don't know, a few months ago, I took it up another step along the Dave Ramsey plan and actually, in air quotes, pay him with points every Monday. So he earns throughout the week. And so we focus on what are we really wanting him to master to help him with life skills in the future. If he can do these things, then he'll get a check mark for it. And then that equates to points, and points equates to free food for him, which is what works. So, okay.
Treats. Yeah.
Treats, special treats, his gluten-free pizza. But anyway, that really, it works well. And it's preparing him for future when he will work for an employer, hopefully at some point, But that, I think, between the calendar and the point system, I mean, I'm watching him now and it's like just second nature now for him when he's finished with a meal to clean his plate off, put it in the sink, put his trash in the trash can and move on. We don't have to remind him. He knows that every day.
He's just gotten into that habit.
Right. And so, we try to build on it. And my next step to build on that will then to teach him to wash his dishes and then dry them and put them away. But I really wanted him to get extremely comfortable with this to where he didn't think twice. I will say this. So I know how many forks and spoons and the number of flatware we have. So I was putting them away the other day and I go, we're missing 2 forks, babe. And you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And I thought to myself, how is that happening? And then I thought, I bet you Bryce is throwing it in the trash. So when he's cleaning off his plate. So I had a little test run there. And sure enough, I went and looked. And when he had a paper plate with a regular piece of flatware and not plastic, they were both going into the trash. Mm-hmm. Where if it's a regular plate, ceramic plate, then he put the fork and the plate in the sink. Mm-hmm. So I went and pulled it out of the trash and I showed him, I said, listen, you keep me throwing away our forks. So I didn't know. Okay, I know you didn't realize you were doing it, but it was because you were in a hurry because you were ready to go play, right? And he's like, yes. I said, okay, so here's the deal. So we had purchased him this goldware. It's like a golden fork.
Because he loved gold.
Right. He was very into it. So I said, from now on, that's what you're going to eat with is your gold. It's not silverware. Your gold flatware. Utensils. There's the word. You're going to eat with your gold utensils. And if you throw them away, then you have to use your points to purchase them again. Mm-hmm. But you can't be throwing ours away. So I think it was like the next day I put his gold fork out there on the plate. he saw it. He goes, oh, I see now. So I have to be really careful. I'm like, I think you'll be a little more careful when it's yours and not ours. So anyway, it's fun with Bryce every day.
Yeah.
But so that's really working out well. And I just can't encourage trying that enough. Some type of reward point system for your child. If that's their personality, it works beautifully for Bryce.
I want to interject here for a second. I know this isn't on our list to talk about, but it's something that we've implemented recently, and we may have talked about it on prior shows, but it's having such a good impact on our family. If we haven't shared it, I wanted to share it again. And that's our 9 o'clock prayer time. Did we share that before?
We mentioned that the last time, but it has continued.
So as Bryce prays, we don't know what he's going to ask God or praise God for. And it's a good way for us to have insights on what he's thinking, because we each take turns praying. And so if he has a worry, he mentions it. Or if he has something he's excited about and wants to give praise for, he mentions it. So not only is it good to have prayer, but it's also good to know more about what he's thinking and what he's worried about. So I just wanted to mention that because it just came to my mind. And
that's good.
It's for somebody in our audience. I don't know who it is, but I have an alarm set on my phone for every evening at 9 o'clock. And I found, actually, I made a ringtone that sounds like angels. And so everybody, for whatever reason, wherever my phone is, Bryce hears it and he comes around the house. You know?
That's it.
And so we know everybody knows it's prayer time.
And everybody pauses
Yeah.
whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
We sit on the couch.
And we pray.
And we take turns.
Yeah.
And it's not long.
No, it doesn't take long.
It's not. I bet all of us are done within 5 minutes or so, but it's the act. It's the process, and it's the time.
Family time
coming together and pausing. And thanking God for the day. And again, like you point out, it's very good that like worries are what he's excited about, which I'll mention now. So he started a new instrument and he's so excited about that. And that may or may not be what you get to hear later. We'll see. But I won't even say what the instrument is until he does that. But anyway, he's been praying for God to help him learn how to play this new instrument of his choice. We gave him choice. He could go back. I wanted him to do 2 instruments because I believe music is so
good for him.
Vital and important for him. And so he loves piano and he's keeping that. And I feel like he's learned to play the drums really well. So he didn't want to go back to drum lessons. He wanted to try a new instrument. But we're doing drums at the house. He's encouraged me to play the piano again, which I may have mentioned. And so I got some new sheet music and we're playing together. But anyway, he's been praying for God to help him with that instrument. So that's been fun too. So I have some books to review. So let me go there next. And boy, do I have a variety here. So, we've reviewed some books before, and I haven't done any in a while, but I had 4 of them come in. And so the first one, okay, I don't usually say the word sucks, but it's Autism Sucks, Finding Hope in the Chaos, because, I usually will say stinks, but we'll say Autism Stinks, Finding Hope in the Chaos. But I understand where this parent's coming from because it's not fun. And he's writing from his heart and it's a father's perspective. And, they had several children. I think it was their 7th child that had the diagnosis. So completely caught them off guard, and it's their daughter. And when he wrote this, I think she was probably 5 or 6. And so they've gone through, those early more difficult years, but starting to see some light and some glimmers of hope there, which is great. But the reality is it's not easy, and everybody's journey is different. But I know how this parent feels because we felt compelled to share our story too, to help others know. And I applaud him because it's not easy to write all of that out. I will say I started reading it, and he's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. So right away I was like, yay, go Birds. Because so are we. And I will say that, even that title, there is some colorful language in here, but it's not heavy throughout the book. But I feel like because of our representation on this podcast and because, of our faith and we are Christians, it's not language that we use every day, but I understand that other people use it and it can, be offensive. But I felt like when he used it in the context, he was really just trying to drive his points home. And so I will put that warning label on that. But I also feel like I know where his heart was coming from. And it was a very quick, easy read. I was engaged and I finished it in a day. And so I want to thank him for sharing that with us. And I will put a link in the show notes. And it's written by Paul Voss. Okay. And then I have 2 more books that were written by the same authors. They were written by Lynn and Jonathan Greenberg. And Jonathan did the illustrations, which are really cute and colorful. And these are more for reading with your kids. And so they're definitely G-rated. And it's the first book that they wrote is called Robbie, the Dyslexic Taxi and the Airport Adventure. And then the second one was Susie, the ADHD Taxi and the Sightseeing Adventure. And they both work for the Creative Cab Company. And what they're really demonstrating through this fun, colorful story is that you can be different, but you can figure out ways to still get the job done. And so even though Robbie was dyslexic and he couldn't read street signs, he was used to having the same path every day, right? The same route. And then when he picked somebody up and they changed the route and had to go to the airport, he was freaking out like, oh no, how am I going to know how to get there? And I won't spoil it, but he figured out ways to get there. And then he was so proud of himself and he works for this great supportive company. And it was really cute. And then they hired Susie, the ADHD taxi later. And of course, she's wanting to go all over the place and she doesn't follow routes. So she learned to be the sightseeing adventure, and that way she didn't have to do the same route every day. So it was just really cute, very clever, and I'll put the links for those books as well, and I think they would be great for you to pick up and read with your kids. Whether they have ADHD or if they're dyslexic, I just think it shows that you can be
perseverance,
different, special, and you'll figure a way out. So those were good. That's my loud noise when I drop a book. Sorry, Chris. My sound editor over there. Okay, and then the last one. Now, this is definitely a book that is different than we've received before, but there's a dad who realized the need for a book like this, and quite honestly, we have not needed this. Chris hasn't read these, so it's all me. We haven't read a book like this yet. But it has to do with puberty. And so we know that is approaching. And so the timing was good for him to send it to us. This will be your book, babe, because these are conversations that you will be having with Bryce. I would feel more comfortable with you having it than me. But I wanted to read the parts of the cover sheet that Wayne Perry, who's the author, sent to us. And I highlighted this because he said, my goal was to make a resource that is honest enough to be helpful, but respectful enough for parents to feel comfortable sitting down and discussing it page by page. The artwork was especially important, descriptive enough to support the text, but not graphic or uncomfortable. And then in the back, he included sample questions so parents can start conversations outside of the text itself. He put some warnings on there. I mean, it was really done very thoughtfully, and I am positive that there will be parents who struggle in this department and could find a resource like this to be helpful.
Well, let me chime in on that because I can share my own experience when I was growing up. And my parents were very old school. It was a household where you rarely heard the word love. There wasn't really any hugs, And so when it came time for puberty for me, or adolescence is what they called it. It consisted of not a conversation with either of my parents, but a flyer being left on the dining room table for me to discover. And that, it kind of broke my heart. Kind of broke my heart because it's like neither of my parents wanted to sit down with me and talk about it. It's like, here you go. Good luck with that.
Figure it out.
Right? Figure it out. And so that always stayed with me. Obviously, to this day, I remember it. And we had sex education in school, and that's basically where I learned, is in public school, and it's...
So you had older brothers. Is that something you could not approach them about? Because they were quite a bit older than you, like 10 and 12 years older than you.
Right. Well, by that time, they were, like, moved out.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not something that...
That's what I'm thinking. It's a tough topic.
Yeah. And so it is important, and I've already laid the groundwork for Bryce, and I told him that when he turns 12, that, his body's going to go through some changes, and he may start to think that he knows everything, and then he might, not like mommy and daddy as much, or, that those types of things. I didn't touch on...
You touched more on the emotional than the physical changes.
Right? And okay. I know that the physical changes need to be discussed, and I'm just praying for the right time. And this book I will definitely check out when I go to do that. Yep. So I know we're right on the precipice of it.
We are, for sure. And so it's called Private Time, and Helping Teen Boys Understand, and by Wayne Perry. So I will put the link for that as well. And for those who feel like it's that time, there's a resource that we appreciate Mr. Perry providing for us.
If it's that time, get Private Time.
There you go. So anyway, thanks everyone who shared your books with us. We appreciate that. We do get several emails, wanting to have guests on here, but we don't have guests. So that's when we welcome them to send their books or their products or whatever it is, and then we'll be happy to give it an honest review. So that is that. We'll almost get to your question. I think I have one more recap. So because we've had Christmas and New Year's since we were on here, and we did have a nice Christmas, and we had a nice New Year's.
I think it's the most excited that he's been about Christmas.
Yes, and I would say that Christmas this year was definitely seeing it through the eyes of Bryce. And it was a little harder for me not having my dad, and knowing that it was obvious that dad was missing, know, but we changed it up a little bit and went to my brother's house to have a different setting, kind of like we do with Bryce to help him with emotional things. And so, but Bryce was just very, very excited about everything and so engaged, and we see him engaging with other people so much more now, and having those, can start a conversation to a degree and have a back and forth and look him in the eye. And he's so warm and loving. And it's really exciting to see, because believe me, there were plenty of Christmases that, he was lost. And he just didn't really understand much at all. And didn't really show interest, but he got his Nerf gun and targets that he wanted. And so you set him up out back so he can shoot in the backyard and, safely at our shed that we have, and that's great too, because we want him to have alternatives to electronics. I was talking to his therapist yesterday, and she was, it always comes up about screen time. And I said, that's his television time. When I grew up, I watched TV, because we didn't have the alternative. He doesn't watch TV. He hardly ever watches any TV shows. It's changed now. Kids watch YouTube. That's become their version of what we had as television, right? I listen to the radio a lot more. Bryce does like to listen to music, and he'll do it some, but he prefers visual over audio. And, we just want him to have a healthy balance. So that's why we get him toys like that, and we have board games and card games and things like that, which he does. But we had a great Christmas. He had his Christmas recital, and there was a little funny story with that. Funny now, not funny then, but so we had two things got planned on the same day. He had his Special Olympics Christmas party, which was at noon, and then there was his Christmas recital,
which we thought was at 3.
which we thought it was at 3. So we thought, 3:30, I didn't even think. So anyway, we thought we had plenty of time. So we go and we enjoy the Christmas party. Even stayed a little longer than we normally would have because he wanted to wait to see what his friends got. Mm-hmm. And so when we came home, we thought we had another hour and a half before we had to be at the recital. Now, thankfully, the recital place was literally 5 minutes from our house with no red traffic lights between our place and that place, which is unusual, but that worked out very positively for us. So we're home. I already had his outfit all laid out on the bed. His Aunt Leslie got him a nice new jacket and shirt for his birthday. I had his dress pants out. Everything will be good. I'll get him ready. You know, I was actually thinking I'm going to feed him. We'll get him fed, and then I'll get him dressed. So I just put the water on the stove for his hot dogs and put I don't know if I had the hot dogs in or not, but I know I had the water on the stove and they were probably boiling. And so while his hot dogs are cooking, you said very nonchalantly, I just got this text from House of Music wanting to know where he is. I'm like, what? So I should precede this. So you took him to the practice the night before, and I had said to you, what time does he need to be there for the recital? And you're like, I don't know. They didn't say. I said, all right. So we just moved on. I said, well, they must not need him too early, but we'll get there a little bit early so he's ready. So anyway, we get this text saying, where's Bryce? I'm like, where? What do you mean? Then I got a little excited. It was a voicemail. Yeah. So I called. He's like, it's, them calling. So I called back, and the lady was in a panic, and she's like, where is Bryce? Is he okay?
He's getting ready to go on right now.
Right now. I'm like, what? So anyway.
It was what?
Bottom line was, yes. So we didn't make it in time for the initial performance, but I said, we'll be there in 5 minutes. So I hurry, I get him dressed. You and I, we stay. I'm in my Snoopy shirt, It's my Snoopy Christmas shirt. I wore to Special Olympics Christmas. I was not dressed up at all for this. So anyway, we just hurry up. We get him dressed. We get in the car. We go. And then, of course, Bryce is like, we're trying to stay calm for him to a degree. Yeah. Am I going to miss it? Am I going to miss it? No, we don't think so. We're going to get you there. We'll get you there. It's okay. Oh, but I practiced so hard. We're going to get you there. It's okay.
So we get there, and they had already performed, and we didn't want Bryce to know that.
Correct.
Because it would have been bad news. And so you were able to pull one of them aside and say, hey, what can we do? And they said, we're going to work something out. And we didn't know what it was.
They're like, it's okay. He'll play. I said, okay.
So, they are so great. They have so many special needs kids at the House of Music, and they're just incredible people.
Yeah, they are. Their hearts are insanely beautiful. And they knew how much this meant to Bryce because he was going to play the piano and sing. Mm-hmm. So we're sitting there.
So she comes over. She says, "Yeah, we're gonna do it." And then I had to. Then you remember the hot dogs.
That's why I was like sitting there, kind of calm. And then I go,
"Did you text me?"
No, I'm sitting beside you.
Yeah, and you said, "Hey, I think I left the hot dogs on the stove." And I'm like, "Oh man."
You're like, "Do you want me to go look?" I'm like, "Yes, I do," because I was like 99% sure that I had left them boiling.
I'm like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah, I think I did. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want the house to burn down.
Exactly.
So I had to leave to go tend to the hot dogs. And when I got home, yes, they were on the back burner, full boil, and
you said you got there just in time before the water evaporated.
The water was almost gone. And so I turned off the burner, run back to the place, and he's just finishing the song that he was doing. And so I got to see like the middle and to the end.
I'm so glad.
And he was so excited that they redid the whole thing.
They did an encore. And he wasn't playing by himself. He was playing with probably 9 to 10 other people.
Yeah, and they called them all back up on the stage. I mean, it was really incredible.
They did the whole thing again.
Yeah,
so we can't thank them enough. Yeah. And he did great. So that was our crazy Christmas story.
We avoided a big problem there.
Yeah, and the house is still in one piece, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think at this point, let's do that. We'll go to your question number 2, and then I will have that one little funny comment that he did. Okay. And then we'll see if he's ready.
So we've started this series of what are the most asked questions about autism. And today's most asked questions is, did I cause my son's autism or my child's autism? The short answer is no, you didn't. It's not your fault, Mr. Parent or Miss Parent. Mm-hmm. And, that's the first thing we think of. How did this happen? Did I do something? Could this have been prevented? What's going on? I mean, you have all these thoughts going through your head once you get the diagnosis, and, you're like, how could I have prevented this? Well, the short answer is that you really couldn't have prevented it. They're still trying to really figure out and put a finger on what exactly causes autism. And right now, a lot of it points to genetics. A lot of it points to environmental factors. We have a lot of chemicals these days in our environment, air pollution, pesticides, herbicides, all of those are suspects. So, but, how can we control all of that? You don't know how much of all of that you're getting, really. So going forward, we decided to go organic when we can, just to remove that risk of pesticides and herbicides, so that we try to get organic food.
We did, and I just want to say, so that was another decision we made rolling into this new year, because with my health, I feel like last year was survival mode, going through the chemo and trying to recover from that, and still waiting to turn the corner, which I'm still waiting to turn the corner. And, I'm not getting better the way we hoped and thought that I would. So I'm like, well, then this year we got to make some changes to let's control what we can control. Mm-hmm. And so we did choose, we're using this Green Chef to bring in 3 meals a week so that we can have those and some leftovers that we know are organic, it tastes good, easy to prepare, and then fill in the other blanks. So I think so far that's a really big step for us. And I said it's going to help me, but it's also going to help Bryce. And then at the end of the day, it also helps you. So, I do think what we consume in our bodies makes a big difference.
But did we cause it? No, we didn't.
Well, I didn't cause the cancer either. And we didn't cause the autism.
So after the fact, we're just trying to do our best to live healthier.
To help. I think it helps, though.
It does. Yeah. So other risk factors include advanced parental age, which we were advanced in age when we had Bryce. Now, I will say I learned something new that I didn't know before, but diseases at birth increase a lot as you age. So like the eggs, female eggs, as they get older, there's more risk factors involved with outcomes at birth. And I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. So that was interesting. And then premature birth or very low birth weight can contribute. Also certain prenatal or birth-related complications. So, it's a host of different things that are out there that can cause autism. And I think in the future they'll be able to narrow it down more as to what exactly it is. But right now it's just a broad spectrum of things that they say. So it's not because you work too much. It's not because you had stress during pregnancy. It's not something that you ate or you didn't eat during pregnancy. And it's
Well, once upon a time, they said it was the what was it? The refrigerator mom theory, like because you were so cold to your children that they withdrew, and that's why they didn't display love, and that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So the more important thing is don't dwell on what you could have done or if it was your fault, because it wasn't. What you can do now is how can I best support my child, right? So you have the diagnosis, you get access to therapies, you understand their sensory needs, work on acceptance and patience, and educating your family and caregivers about, how your child works, what makes them tick and the ins and outs of them, we just do our best right now. So if you're asking the question, did I cause this? It just means that you care deeply. And that's what really matters, is you care about your kid. And, but no, you did not cause it. And with that, that's one of our most asked questions that we found.
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is spot on. And I have read and seen in my research and conversations that I've had that a lot of parents feel guilty that their kids have autism, and guilt is not going to help anybody. And I think that's what we really want to say with this. It's not anybody's fault that this has happened. It's just happened. But carrying guilt, especially if you missed signs and then it was discovered later, or you chose to ignore signs because you were hoping that it wasn't what you thought it was, and you didn't get help until later. It's like you said, that's done, that's past, and you can't carry guilt about that because that's not going to help your situation at all. Yes, as we mentioned with the book title earlier, autism stinks. There's, especially in those early ages and even later in life for the ones who have it, at that deeper level where they don't really see the progress like we've been fortunate to see with Bryce. It's hard. It's hard. And it's not a club that you would go and sign up to be a member of. Mm-hmm. But once you're there, if you have your eyes and your heart and your mind open to it, you're going to see so many beautiful gifts that come with this, in air quotes, membership, that you would not otherwise have in life. And it can shape you into becoming a much more beautiful person inside and out as a parent and just as a human being, because that's what I see in Bryce. Is he is just such a beautiful human being who doesn't want to hurt anybody and doesn't ever want to say a word that offends anybody. And he sets an example for me as well.
If you look for the bad, you will see the bad.
It's easy to find.
If you look for the blessings, you'll see the blessings. Mm-hmm. So concentrate on the blessings, concentrate on the good things. You can do a gratitude journal. I have a prayer journal I do in the evenings. So I have a section that I write for praise. What can I praise about from that day? And what do I need to pray about for that day? So it's really helpful to me. I just started that this year. So I can look back on that in future years and see where I was at, But if you look for the things God is doing and the blessings in it, then it'll change your outlook and it'll give you a different frame of mind.
Yeah, that's good. So that control what we can control kind of thing. So I had that one little thing about mom that I was going to share, and then we'll see if we can get Bryce for his surprise that he wanted to share with you guys. It was just funny because Bryce went with my mom the other day to Sam's Club, and he was riding in her car. And Bryce rides in the front seat now. So let me just say that he keeps us all straight, and he's very observant as to everything that we do if we're driving. And he'll make commentary to you. He'll make commentary to me. He'll make commentary to whoever might be in the vehicle. So he didn't tell us this. My mom told me later. She goes, yeah, Bryce told me when I took him to Sam's Club that I broke the law. You broke the law? What did you do? She said, well, I was going to turn onto US 1, and he said, I didn't put on my turn signal. And she goes, but I was in the turn lane, and so I didn't think about it. And then she said, Bryce goes, oh, Mama, you just broke the law. She goes, what do you mean I broke the law? He's like, you didn't turn on your turn signal. She said, so I explained to him, well, I was in the turning lane. He goes, yes, but that's still breaking the law. The car behind you didn't know that you were going to turn. She goes, well, he was in the turning lane behind me too. So she's trying to defend herself to him. And he wasn't going to let it go. So she goes, okay, I will turn on my turn signal next time. He goes, okay, because I don't want you to get in trouble with the law. Okay. So then she said he was also rating her car because he's very into automobiles. So I said, well, what rating did you give it? And he goes, she got a B+ because it's very dirty. So he motivated her. So the next day she got up and she washed her car and vacuumed it because it's just something she hadn't been able to do. So now it has rated up to passing with an A, and it's all good. So anyway,
cute.
That's Bryce. He's cute.
That's funny.
All right, let me go
get
that ready.
Yep. See if he wants to demonstrate his new instrument. All right, here comes Bryce, and he's gonna talk to us about what's new in his life.
So what's new in my life is that I get to play a saxophone.
Yeah.
And I'm learning how to do it. I started it recently, like last week.
Yeah.
And I just learned how to play 2 notes, and I'm gonna demonstrate it.
So why did you pick the saxophone, or how did you hear about a saxophone?
Because I've seen it before and it sounds beautiful, so that's why I decided to start those lessons.
Okay.
And I wanted to do my first wind instrument.
Tell people what happened on your first lesson.
Well, on my first lesson, I couldn't make a sound. But after a little while, I made a sound with it. And then on my second lesson, after that, I was learning 2 notes, C and B.
Oh, so tell me, like, what do you have to do to make a sound? Why couldn't you make a sound?
Well, I couldn't make a sound because I wasn't putting enough pressure on my lips.
Oh, that's a very helpful tip for people, right?
Yep, and make sure to make sure to put it don't put it too much in your mouth because it's not going to make a sound if you do that. Okay. I put it far away from my mouth, but when I put pressure on my lips.
Okay, so you made it make a beautiful sound?
Yeah, it makes a beautiful sound.
Very nice. How long do you think it'll take you before you learn a whole song?
About a month, because I gotta learn all the notes, and I learned 2 notes, so I think it's gonna take about a month.
Okay.
For me to do my first song, because he's gonna teach me more notes and more notes. Then when I can do my first song, he's gonna teach me a jazzy song, and then after that, that's before my very first song.
What did he teach you this week in your lesson?
This week in my lesson, he taught me 2 notes and how to hold it the right way.
How do you hold it the right way?
To put your 3 fingers on the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Why did you put all my friends in here?
All your friends help us reduce the echo for our podcast, so it's not too echoey. So every time we have a podcast, now we bring Bryce's friends. And tell us about your friends, Bryce.
You do?
Tell us about them.
Yeah,
Who's your friends?
Helped me sleep. Flippy, Slashy, Bryce Jr., and Elephant, and Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby.
And what are they?
And
they're stuffed.
They're stuffed animals.
Yeah.
All right. Does it work?
All right. So
we're gonna find out.
we don't want to do it into the microphone.
I'm gonna. All right.
Maybe stand
Yeah,
over here.
stand
I
over
know
there.
what I'm gonna do. Oh wait, it's a little twisted.
That's okay.
It's okay,
Try it
turn
right
around.
there.
I might need to fix it.
Okay, here we have Bryce, and he's going to play a note for us. Go ahead, Bryce. All right, what note is that?
That's F.
Okay, can you play another one?
Sure.
That sounded like F again.
I'm gonna change the note again.
Oh, okay. You know how to change that note?
Yeah, right there, right there.
Okay.
That's the fingers.
That sounded like F again.
I pressed the same key
Okay.
again, so I'm gonna do this one.
Do this one.
Oh, that was a good one.
That's C.
Okay. All right.
That's high notes.
Well, now you got the
No,
beginning.
one more note.
Oh, one more note. That was the same one? Okay, yeah, you just
There you
wanted to do
go.
that again. Thanks, Bryce.
Okay, that was good.
We appreciate you doing it for us.
You're welcome.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.